Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Friday. We got the weekend obviously here, and we're gonna have Father's Day this weekend. So happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. A couple things we want to talk about. Obviously, Bitcoin's up a little bit right now. The miners are kind of mixed bags. Most of them are kind of up, but a lot of them are also down. We'll take a look at that. Bitfarms provided some news that isn't good, so we'll get into that as well. But let's get into the charts here, and we'll get into everything else. So as always, not financial advice. I'm invested in following coins and companies as always. I'm going to repeat this every single time we do this. So let's get into the chart of Bitcoin here really quick. So Bitcoin is at 20,529 right now. It seems like we kind of have this kind of support line here at 20,500. We keep bouncing off of this line here. We've seen it before where here we've bounced off of it. We've obviously been battling it here. We bounced off of it. We bounced up here. We went below it. But it looks like over here now also we're kind of bouncing off of this line here at 20,500. So that could be our support here that we're at instead of the 19,500 that I have down here. But we'll see obviously where we end up at right now. Right now it's not looking great either on the chart, on the 1 hour chart at least. I'm not seeing any signs where we're obviously going up in price and the RSI is holding flat or going down or anything like that. We're not seeing that yet. So we'll just have to see how that plays out over the weekend. But if obviously we don't hold this line at 20,500, we're possibly going down and testing the 19,500. And then after that, our next possible target line would be way down here. Let me see if not that far low. I think it's right around 13,500 or so, right around there. So we'll see how that plays out. Ethereum is at 1,082. It is also kind of, we were going sideways here on it. So this could be the accumulation phase of both Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll have to see how that plays out as well. So not much going on here. We'll have to obviously keep an eye on it and see what happens into the weekend. One good news is, found something that's from on Twitter. So Crypto Kalo provided this chart here. This chart is of the halving cycles and the number of days basically for the bear market after the halving. So after the first halving in 2012, it was 778 days from the start of the halving to when we bottomed out. In 2016, it was 884 days from the start of the halving to the bottom of the basically bear market. So we had the bull run and then the bear market. And in 2020, we had it started obviously right around the price. I can't see the price here, but it doesn't really matter on the price, but it was 767 days on it right now. So we're getting pretty close to those numbers here. So I think possibly I don't know for sure if we bottomed out on Bitcoin, but based on these time frames, we may have a little bit more time to go. Obviously 884 days here in 2016 and 778 in 2012. We're at 767, so we're pretty close to that. We may still be lingering here for a couple more months if we get to the 884 on average. So we'll have to see. So this is kind of good that we might be actually close to the bottom if we're not there already. So I just wanted to point that out. And then let's get into the miners here. So Annie was down 8.34% today to 64 cents. It's up a little bit in the after hours now to 67 cents. And Argo blockchain is down 2.38% to 41 cents. Bit Digital is up today 16.39% to $1.42, down a little bit in the after hours to $1.39. Bitfarms was up 2.31% to $1.33, down or up a little bit more in the after hours to $1.35. CleanSpark was up 4.49% in the day to $4.65. Cores was up 5.91% to $2.33. DigiHost was flat at $1.10. DMG was down 9.1% to 18 cents. High Blockchain was up 1.73% to $2.94. And Hut 8 was up 3.25% to $1.59, down a little bit in the after hours to $1.58. Iris Energy was down 2.09% to $3.74, up a little bit in the after hours to $3.89. Exfolio was down 15.13% to 9 cents. Ouch. Marathon was up just barely 0.61% to $6.61, down a little bit in the after hours to $6.60. Mawson was down 17.24% to $1.44. Ouch. And Rye Blockchain was up 2.65% to $4.65. And Stronghold was down 5.45% to $1.56, up a little bit in the after hours to $1.65. So like I said, it's a mixed bag with the miners, and a lot of them obviously also reaching new 52-week lows today. So we had Stronghold reach 52 weeks. Riot did not. Mawson did at $1.43. Marathon did not. Luxfolio did not. Iris did not. Hot 8 did not. Hive didn't. DMG did at 1809. DigiHost did not. Cores did not. CleanSpark did not. Bitfarms did not. BitDigital did not. Argo did at 38.5 cents. And Sphere did at 64.2 cents. So we're still obviously going down in price on some of these, and we are getting the new 52-week lows on some of these as well. All right, so let's get into Bitfarms here. Wasn't too pleased with this. As you know, I'm invested with Bitfarms. I've been dollar cost averaging into it for a while, so they made obviously a couple mistakes here in the past couple months, and let's get into what they've done here. So Bitfarms executes strategic actions, increasing financial flexibility. So they enter new equipment financing agreement with NYDIG for $37 million. They reduced their 100 million BTC-backed credit facility to 66 million. And I think the reason that they reduced it is I think maybe, I don't know for sure, I think maybe they got margin called on this. I'm not certain on this. I'm just kind of guessing on it. We'll get in the numbers here why I think that might be the case. So let's get into it here. Let's see here. So they entered into an equipment financing agreement with initial funding of $37 million with NYDIG. In addition, the company reduced its 100 million Bitcoin-backed credit facility with Galaxy Digital by 34 million to 66 million via the sale of 1,500 BTC holdings. So they actually had to sell that to pay down obviously the credit facility by 34 million. And we'll get into the numbers here, what they look like. So here's a quote. We have proactively taken non-dilutive strategic actions to increase our financial liquidity and flexibility during this period of macroeconomic crypto challenges, said Jeff Lucas, CFO of Bitfarms. Now we are better positioned to opportunistically consider potential farm expansion or acquisitions that arise as a result of recent market conditions. Our strategy supports our focus on driving operational excellence and maintaining our position as one of the lowest cost producers in the industry. And that is it. Let me see if there's anything else here. So the initial funding of 37 million or 36 million net of closing fees has been completed, with additional fundings contemplated, not committed, in July and October 2022 as construction continues at the bunker and more equipment is installed. So they may be getting some more funding from that. Let's see here. And then they also have, obviously, the latest equipment financing is distinct from Bitfarms' previously announced 32 million equipment financing agreement with BlockFi lending, which is fine. Bitfarms reduced, and then they go into that again. So let's see here. Here's a quote also from Lucas. In addition to lowering our interest expense, this 34 million reduction in borrowing gives us the ability to utilize more of the BTC holding strategy as it frees up BTC that would otherwise be used as collateralized. This credit facility, concluded Lucas. So that kind of is counterintuitive to me, but we'll take a look at it here. So going back here a little bit, this is from December 31st of 2021. This is Bitfarms secures 100 million credit facility. So that's the credit facility that they paid down on. So with over 3,300 BTC presently held in Treasury, we are leveraging the value of our BTC holdings while increasing working capital flexibility. We plan to utilize these funds for general corporate purposes in support of our goals of achieving hash rate of 3 exahash by March 31st and 8 exahash by December 31st, 2022, as well as future miner purchases at Lucas. So that's what it was going to be used for. On December 30th, 2021, Bitfarms secured a 100 million BTC backed, right? So obviously they had to put up some BTC in order to get this credit facility with Galaxy Digital, an affiliate of Galaxy Digital Holdings, a provider of blockchain and cryptocurrency financial services for institutions. This is a revolving multi-draw credit facility that automatically renews annually. Bitfarms has made initial 60 million draw with a 6-month term at an interest rate of 10.75% per annum. Anticipated additional draws over the next few months, which would bring the total borrowing to 100 million, are subject to customary TSX Venture Exchange approval and will be expected to bear the same interest rate and to be due on the same date as the initial draw. So that's the original one there for 100 million. And then here's the other thing. That was a kicker back then. I wasn't too pleased with it when it happened too. This was back on January 10th. At that point, I'll try to provide the link to the video that I did on this, but I wasn't happy with it. I said that I think they should have possibly bought more miners at the time. Could have done some other things with it. instead of buying Bitcoin at the time. So here's what they did. Emiliano Grodzinski, Bitfarms founder and chief executive officer, said, "Our guiding company strategy at Bitfarms is to accumulate the most Bitcoin for the lowest cost and in the fastest amount of time for the benefit of our shareholders. To that end, we continually optimize our capital allocation. With a dip in BTC while mining hardware prices remain high, we seize the opportunity to move cash into BTC. We continue to be committed to executing our operational growth strategy and delivering 8 exahash by the end of 2022. So Bitcoin purchase metrics. During the first week of January 2022, Bitfarms purchased 1,000 BTC for 43.2 million. This increased the BTC holdings 30% to over 4,300 as of January 10th. So that 1,000 Bitcoin that they purchased in January at 43,200 is now worth 20 million. It's half that, obviously, right? So like I said back then, it's great if Bitcoin goes up, but if Bitcoin goes down, it's not such a great investment, in my opinion. I think they could have done other things to the facilities, use that cash for facilities or miners or other things like that instead of buying Bitcoin itself, especially since they're mining it. I don't understand why miners are buying BTC when they're actually mining it. So that is that information there. So I wanted to kind of bring you guys back into all the information that we had on them. And here's what we're looking at here. So the numbers, let me see, maybe I'll zoom this in for you guys a little bit more to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so there we go. So December 31st, obviously we know that they had 3,300 BTC. At that time, Bitcoin was valued at about 46,300. Total value of that was about 152.7 million. They had a BTC backed credit, so that's 100 million from that. So it looks like it was basically two BTC staked for every 3 that they owned, it looks like, or held as credit or collateral. So it was basically 65% of their holdings would be used for this collateral for the BTC backed credit. Now, obviously, in January 10th, they bought 1,000 BTC at 43,200. Proceeds was 43.2 million that they paid for it. And then currently, they have about, last reported from their May production updates, was 6,075 Bitcoin, valued at about 2,500 or so currently. We're looking at 124 million. So that gives us, if we're using that same ratio of 65 or 243, right, 65%, that would be, they could have maybe 83 million or so backed by it, by this total amount. So they obviously, I think, possibly got margin called on it, and they had to produce obviously more Bitcoins, which they ended up selling 1,500 of those for 22,667 and change to get a total of about 34 million. That obviously brought them down to the 64 million BTC backed credit. So they now have 4,575 roughly, because they obviously produced more this month in June. And BTC value right now is at 20,500. That gives them a total value of 60 or 93 million. That is a ratio of basically of 68% of their Bitcoins are now being backed by this credit. So it went up from 65% to 68%. So that's why I think they actually had to sell those Bitcoins in order to get that credit facility down to where they weren't being margin called possibly. And I'm not sure if that's fact or not. So this is kind of just what I'm going by, doing the math here on it. Now, I also posted a question on Twitter, which was whether or not the miners should be selling a portion of the Bitcoins during, each month for what they produce. And the reason I got into this was because, obviously they had to sell 1,500 Bitcoin here at pretty low prices, 22,000 compared to when they bought it here at 1,000, at 43,000. So obviously they lost a lot of value on that. That wasn't a good investment in my opinion. Kind of felt that way when they did it, but I was optimistic, hoping that Bitcoin would rebound. It hasn't, obviously, has come down. So hindsight is always 20/20, and we can always be, on the sidelines talking about it after the fact. So lesson learned, I think. Hopefully they've learned their lesson as well, not to do that. And it got me thinking, had they actually sold a portion of their Bitcoins throughout the months, where would they be now, right? So we're going all the way back to October when I have numbers for them for what they produce each month, the value of it at that time, based on what the Bitcoin price was at. And we can see that they would have had approximately about 2,843 Bitcoins mined. The 1,900 is basically that total minus what they possibly could have sold. So here I have them set at selling approximately 30% of the Bitcoins mined each month. So if they sold 30% from October to now, we'll be looking at approximately a generated revenue of about 35 million in cash, right? This is the cash they would have had. They could have used this for operations. They could have used it for funding growth, whatever they wanted to do it, and still not having to rely a little bit less on credit facilities and loans and things like that. But they would have also only sold about 852 Bitcoins compared to the 1,500 Bitcoins they had to sell now when the price of Bitcoin is so low. So you also average into it over time, and you get a better price on that than now where we are in a downturn in the market and you're forced to sell, which is something that you don't really want to do. You really don't want to be forced to sell it. So that is what we would have a total of 852 Bitcoins sold over that time. That would leave us with, from the production, still about 2,000 Bitcoins left compared to almost the 2,843 that they are holding, basically. Also looking at it here, we can do this. We can take that final number divided by Bitcoin sold, and you basically, your average sell price per Bitcoin is $41,000 compared to the 22,000 here that they sold it at. That's a big difference there. So I highly recommend, I don't know if anybody's going to listen to this or listen to me, but I think it is prudent and highly advantageous to the miners to sell a portion of it throughout each month, throughout the year, as you're producing it, hodl the rest, whatever that ratio is, whether it's 30% sell, 70% hodl, 25%, it's going to be dependent on each firm, but I think it is actually more beneficial this way. Let me know what you guys think of this, if you guys agree on this or not. Obviously, like I said, I'm a little perturbed by what I'm seeing here, at least right now. I know we're in a down market, so they're trying to do the best that they can. But I'm hoping that they've obviously learned the lesson from the past and don't repeat it again by buying more Bitcoin. If they're going to buy Bitcoin, now would be the time to do it. I think now, and then if we fall a little bit more, that would be the time to buy it. But not while we're still, trying to figure out where things are going with it. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm just a little upset. I'm sure some of you are also, but obviously didn't do too bad today. I'm hoping that they can get this figured out and move forward from here and obviously continue on to that 8 exahash that they want to be at by the end of the year, which they are pretty close to that right now. Let me see here. Where are they at right now? Right now, they're at 3.4. So not too far off from where they want to be, about halfway there from the total 8 exahash that they want to get to. So we'll see how things go. But that's it. We'll see where Bitcoin ends up today. And then we'll do the miners versus Bitcoin again. And then we'll look at other things that are happening as well. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. You know the drill. Helps me out tremendously. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to you guys as well. And I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one.